research. So qualitative and quantitative methods are simply different ways of looking at the phenomena. Different ways. Using them together is symbiotic. Symbiotic means you can have the advantages of both approaches together. So in fact, there's an approach, you don't need to know this, which is called it's a different kind of approach. Sequential explanatory approach, if you don't need to know what's that. Where we combine quantitative and qualitative together. It's a separate paradigm. It's a separate paradigm. Quantitative and qualitative together. Right? All is coming from home, so we want so good. Okay. So symbiotic means we can live together. Beings, two beings. So quantitative and qualitative could work together. That's what I mean. But purists, they believe that it cannot be quantitative and qualitative cannot be mixed. Which I don't think so. Paradigms cannot be mixed, of course, like religions cannot be mixed, but different kind of customs in the religions could be mixed. As I saw in that Catholic procession sometimes back. So characteristics of qualitative research, the main purpose someone told is to understand. Is underlined. The main purpose of qualitative research is understanding in depth stuff. Understand. Professor Nandasena wanted to understand how beggars in Srilanka, at least in Colombo area, was functioning. Understanding is the key. Not to see the relationship, but to understand a concept in it. Right? So that's why to oriented towards discovery, like how the beggar behavior works, uses subjective data, interview data, subjective. Extract meaning of the data, interprets the results in the context. So that's what we call interpretation. So qualitative research is based on interpretation, interpreterist paradigm. You can take down interpreterist paradigm. So interpreterist paradigm is where you try to interpret this. So yes, but on the other hand, so what are the advantages of qualitative research? So if you talk about advantages, you compare the disadvantages of another research aspect. Advantage of one approach is the disadvantage of other. Let's see what are the advantages. What are the advantages? can perform what? Number one, in-depth examination. In quantitative research, can you perform in-depth examination? You can't. You are just looking at relationship between variables, that's all. In qualitative research, you perform case study research particularly and go in depth. Now, for example, if I want to see JK, why they became successful, I will interview them, I'll go there, see their documents, go in depth. So that's an advantage of qualitative research. Number two, uses subjective information, not always objective information. Not limited to rigidly defined variables. You don't need to have variables in qualitative research. In quantitative research, you need to define and measure variables which is not precise. Right? Examine complex questions. Because you are trying to understand that in depth. You can answer complex questions. Deal with value-laden questions. Explore new areas of research. Build new claims. And that's why we call this one. Inductive deductive approach. Qualitative is what? Inductive deductive. Inductive deductive. Inductive. So please take it up here. Inductive. So build new theories is inductive. You build new theories under inductive. So these are the advantages. Indeed. So disadvantages. What's the main disadvantage of qualitative research? The main one. There are several disadvantages. What are the main disadvantages? There are two main disadvantages. One is what? It's subjective. Because now in quantitative research, you use statistics. Now, for an example, to see the relationship between two variables, you use correlation. It's a correlation that is subjective. Once I take data, once I put that to SPSS and get the correlation output, is it subjective? No, it's objective. If you do that, I do that, we'll get the same result. But qualitative research, is it objective? It depends on how you interpret. That's why it's called interpretation. Right? It depends on how the researcher looks at things. Professor Nandasen would have taken the data, looked at what the other figures are doing, and interpreted it one way. But if someone else had done the same research, that person would have interpreted that another same way. Because it's what? They use their brain, not a statistical software. So we look at the same thing in different ways. I was telling about alcohol. Right? Alcohol, I was telling, okay, is it okay? In Sri Lanka, it's okay. But in some other country, it might not be. See how the same thing is looked at in different ways. So, objectivity is there. The second main disadvantage is what? Generalizing. I was telling about JK as a successful company. Can I generalize that to all conglomerates in Sri Lanka? Can I generalize that to all conglomerates in the world? Because it only relates to JK. So those are the two main disadvantages of qualitative. One, inability to generalize, and the second one is subjectivity. There are others as well, but replicability is very difficult. You cannot replicate because there is only one JK in Sri Lanka. So you cannot replicate the same research somewhere else because there's one JK. Research is biased, of course, the biasness comes in because it's subjective. This comes in subjectivity, being biased. And it takes time, of course, because you have to do an in-depth examination. It's not easy to do qualitative research. Labor intensive and it's expensive as well. And getting data also might not be easy. If you as researchers, if you go to JH and ask, okay, we don't need to do research, would they allow you to come and interview them, look at their documents, internal documents? Not necessary. So these are disadvantages of qualitative research. Right. Now, after the break, right, we are going to discuss the 5 approaches. And now. the 5 approaches. So target question at the exam. So we'll have a break after this, right? So what are the 5 traditions of qualitative research? Although I would say that the quantitative research is subjective and other things, but there are 5 traditions itself in qualitative research. What are the 5 traditions? Target question at the exam. What are the 5 traditions? They go to Preston. Preston is a great researcher who wrote about qualitative research, and he tells that there are 5 approaches. The first approach is biographical study. Second approach is phenomenological study. Then grounded theory. It has to be written by a quick. We try. Number 3 is it doesn't like that. Okay. The number 5 is also there. Okay. Is ethnography and finally case study. Okay. So we'll have now the lunch break and we'll then discuss what are these 5 traditions in what research? Qualitative research. 5 traditions in qualitative. Because in qualitative research, there are further 5 traditions. What are those? Biographical study, phenomenological study, grounded theory, then what? Then ethnography and case study. Case study we have already discussed under research design. Right. But you will understand Professor Nandasen and Rattapal used what approach? Ethnography. Ethnography. You will understand. Then what's grounded theory? These are simple things, don't worry. Right? These are going to quickly finish that, and after that we'll have a nice discussion on flavor, both the research methodology data as well as the English. We'll see how the questions are there and how to answer the questions we'll understand. This we can then start discussing the research methodology. Last time I started, even I uploaded one paper there. I think you have seen that. So we'll go through the other questions and see whether we could answer those questions and what kind of answers are expected at the exam. Don't worry. To go through the materials, all the videos are there. You'll be able to answer reasonable answers, and that's what that. Okay. So shall we take a small break now? For how many minutes do you need the break? Usually 1 hour. Okay, then let's have a one. Already 15, 15. So 45 minutes. But let's make it at 1. Okay. 1 will meet and we'll go up 3. So let's go there. I'll quickly finish these 5 approaches, and after that I'll start with the paper information, which is very, very important. Right. So please have your whatever the lunch or your breakfast quickly. So some people it's quite great. So some people it's fasting. I should fast, but again I'm not well. Having some issues. So therefore, people who fast, please do fast, and people who have their breakfast today now have the breakfast as well as lunch. Please come to time at 1. Thank you. So 1 p. දැන් මාර්කර් ඒක තමයි කන්ටිනියු කරන්නේ. පොඩ්ඩක් පුතා කමක් නැහැ. ඊපිටේ මේ රෙකෝඩින් මේ ගොන්න මෙතන නවත්තලා මේකම තමයි කන්ටිනියු කරන්නේ.
ඒක එකම විෂයද
එකම ඉතිරි.
කියන්නේ රිසර්ච් මෙතඩොලොජි කියන එක
ඒක තමයි යන්නේ. හරියටම හරියක තමයි ඒක මම ඉවරයි. අපිට ඉවරයි.
අයින් කොහොමද ඒක
දැන් මේක තියෙනවා.
හරිද?
තමයි පොඩි නෝටිස් එකක් දාන්න හදිස්සියව කරකටාවක් කියන මේකට.
හරි.
What was it? Oh. Okay, man. Wow, listed companies were manufacturing companies can taking the randomly CS or 3 years. Yes, part of the library panel data and security panel data. The police repression negative, the RDA repression and that's the word like panel repression and figure. Put I can talk with the video of 6 seconds. For the previous back month, take a video of fixing it into the panel second. Or just a amount of the income. Again, walk in the small companies which are going to but this and that come up with this December in at least you can walk in 130 companies can do is sales.
Yes.
Okay. Students. We will see class. We wait for about 5 minutes. You can sign for digital business strategy or value continue research methodology. So, right. කට්ටිය වෙලාවට ටිකක් වැඩ කරන අඩුයි නේ. Welcome to Sri Lanka. No? We'll wait for more funding. Okay, start. No, we waited. Okay. So we'll continue to discuss what are these 5 traditions in qualitative research. So as I told you, there are 5 traditions that are in qualitative. Now, these are only qualitative traditions. These are not quantitative, these are qualitative, right? So don't misunderstand that these are research traditions. These are what? Under qualitative research, there are 5. So there, who builds them? A great researcher as well as an author who is known as Creswell. Creswell is a very popular person. Right? Please come. So Creswell has come up with these 5 research methods. So what are the 5 traditions? We now go through one by one. The first one is biographical study. What do you mean by a biographical study? What's a biography? A biography is a person's life, isn't it? If I write my own biography, what we call it? What a biography? I never intended to, but again, how people have written Now, some individuals write others' life. What's that called? That's a biographical style. For example, if I write about a great personality in history, maybe Barack Obama, then that's a biography. In Sri Lanka also, related to president, there was a book written. But that, Maitripal Sirisena daughter, that forms president daughter, but there are was star. How Maitripal Sirisena daughter's name? She wrote a book about Obama, right? Last time you were again for after a month. He was done and so okay. They don't say he will not get, but they are unknown. He knows that who is the minister attackers. He knows that, and I don't know. He speaks very controversial things. Sometimes I think that we might need some medical attention, particularly from psychologists. Right? All these politicians require that kind of intervention. I think. But yes, so if we write someone else's life, that's called a biography. So in a biographical study, what you do is you study, you research someone else's life, an individual's life. Right? So that's what you do under a biographical study. A study, a biographical study is where a study of an individual and his experience towards the research. Right? Now, for example, I might get information, I might go to a person, I might go to Barack Obama, and I might research into that person and write about, I can do a biographical study. In fact, I think you know what about Steve Jobs? His life is written or not? Yes, his life is written. What he did? He is a person who very much appreciates privacy. So what he did was when he was living, he asked a person to come to his home or whatever place, and then he told what to write to them. So that's what, as told to the researcher. But sometimes the researcher might, or let's say for an example, I want to write about a religious leader. Let's say Lord Buddha, the Prophet Muhammad, or Jesus Christ, or any other Hindu leader. Let's say I want to write about that person. But maybe that person is not there. Then what to do? You might even go through documents, historical documents. Right? Maybe you could read their scriptures. They could read the newspaper. So likewise, it might be through documentation. Okay. It might through documentation. Or it might be written by the individual himself, if we call an autobiography. An autobiography. Basically, a biographical study studies the life of a person and person's experience. So that's why we call biographical study. This one approaching qualitative. How many approaches are there? 5 approaches in qualitative. So the first approach is to study a person's life. That's called a biographical study. It's not quantitative, it's going to be descriptive, but telling his or her experience. But do you think it's objective? Now, a Chaturika Sirisena. That's the name. When Chaturika Sirisena wrote about her father, Maitripal Sirisena, Janadipati Tata, do you think that it's biased or unbiased? Biased. It's totally biased. So something. That's how she thinks about her father. Now, so another former president thought about conspirators. What are they? Other than all, right? Other than himself, all others are wrong, according to them. Isn't it? I never read that book, but again, that's what he's been told. So you can see personal biases to creep into. Now, let's say, for an example, Hitler. Is Hitler a hero? Or a great enemy towards humanity. For his group, he might be a hero. If they wrote a book, they will venerate him. But if the Jews wrote a book about him, they will say how many millions of people Jews yet massacred. See, these are subjective. Again, you can say this is qualitative. That's how you interpret. That's what I call interpretation method. You interpret as you want. It might be a great hero or a great villain. So that's the nature of this. That's why I call it qualitative. You cannot do statistical analysis. You can put SPSS and see, right? What's happening related to the person's life. So complex. And it can be interpreted in the same person or same action could be interpreted in different ways. That's the nature of qualitative. Can't avoid that part of life. So these are biographical studies. Then the next tradition in qualitative, how many traditions are there? 5 traditions are there. First tradition is what? A biographical study. The second tradition is phenomenological study. What's a phenomena? Phenomena can be anything. Phenomenological study. You study about a concept. Phenomena means a concept. You take any concept and you study it. Right? Maybe you can take the concept of Bitcoin and you can study it. Right? Again, you will express your own views about it. Right? Now, these days, Bankman tried. Who's Bankman tried? Who's the owner of crypto exchange? Now he got a sentence because he wrote money. That's what he said. For how many years? 25 years. He got 25 years sentence. If you ask him, what do you think about crypto or cryptocurrency, he would say it's great. But now he wouldn't say that. Still he claims that he's right. Cryptocurrency. Then it's a very controversial currency. That's there. And people even promoted to invest in cryptocurrency. Right, those days. Would you invest in cryptocurrency? I think it's the last place that you should think of investing. If you have additional disposable income, if you have additional disposable income, what's the best place to invest? Stock market. Yes, we have the stock market. You know what you are doing? Exactly. And it has to be long term. It has to be long and in good company, and it will take time to realize. Yes, stock market, if you have additional disposable income, that's a place to go. And what else? Properties. Gold is another avenue, but again, the prices are going up and down. I don't know, very high. Right? But in the long term, of course, it will work. Properties will be, but of course, you have to park your funds and accumulate that to a certain extent to go for a property, of course. But the best place to invest in additional disposable, and after that accumulation, maybe you park it in a bank and then accumulate that and then go for an investment, is properties in Colombo. Why Colombo? Colombo, the prices are going like nothing. For example, I could remember those days about 10 years back. A perch of land here by university was around 500,000. Now, do you know what's the value of after 10 years, or after 8 years? The perch of land is how much? 2 million. If I am going to it, not 2.4 million, 2.3 million. Close to what? Perch is 500,000. 8 years. And now, what's the best place to invest? Not near Java University, of course. To exposure. Yes, in Kittipat, close to NSP, where the land prices are going up by story. And also another place would be near Slit or Malapur. Likewise, you might think, if you, of course, you have to get some funds to go there. So likewise, these are different places, these are different pyramids. Right? You take cryptocurrency, you take investment, and you investigate it, you check. And there's another concept called macronalization. What's macronalization? Now we know what has happened to McDonald's in Srilanka. What has happened to it? It's closed down. I don't know why people eat that, rubbish, right? So in a way, for some people, it could have been a very, sad thing, but for me, there's no, at least an iota of impact that being closed. But so macronalization, that's another concept. So people think macronalization and macronalization a status symbol. They try to pay a huge amount of premium for meeting some nonsense, and they go and just manage there. So likewise, macronalization. Like there are different concepts. But Facebook is a concept. Now for me, Facebook might be how you see Facebook and how I see Facebook might be totally different. Is Facebook good? Some people say absolutely yes. For me, absolutely no. Because for me, I don't have time to waste, like at least 2 words, what's that? And also to get depressed, that you are going to get depressed is Facebook. Why? You just come there with others. That's my idea. But for you, it might be the greatest place to stay. And in the morning itself, you might be starting your day with Facebook, and even you might even think of, starting the day as well as ending the day with Facebook. Perfectly fine. But see, the same concept you might be interpreting different. So under phenomenology, what you take is you take a concept and you describe different people's perspective. Again, as physics, but what we see in different things is looked at differently by different. So that's what we do under phenomenological study. A person's construction of the meaning of a concept. Different people construct the meaning of the same thing in different ways. For example, Facebook. I see Facebook in a different way, you see the Facebook in a different way. What's correct? I think it's correct. It's how you see that. Right? How you see it. Drinking alcohol, you might think in a different way, and I might completely think in a different way. Smoking. That's it. Likewise. So concepts are where you look at different things under phenomenology. These are concepts, how you look at these and how you interpret them. Right, under this phenomenological study attempts to understand participants' perspective and views of social realities. How you look at social reality. Right? Again, macronalization and other kinds of social trends. You will be looking at even Bitcoin. What do you think about it? For some people, Bitcoin might be a very lucrative source. For me, I will never invest in Bitcoin, even if I am given a chance to do it. No, it's too risky for me, and it's also legal. It is a big question mark. Whether Bitcoin is legal, I don't know. It's not recognized at least in Sri Lanka. Then attempts to understand what specific experience is like. Right, the researcher often has personal experience with the phenomena. That's why I think we are like to see that. Now, for example, some topics other than what I told, being left out. What do you think? Being left out. Holding a speech while being in the lecture, that might be a concept itself. And being afraid of the dark. Some people are afraid of the dark. Some people are afraid of heights. They could describe their experience. So these are what? Phenomenological studies. You take a concept and you explain. That's called phenomenological study. Right? So the first one I covered was what? Biographical study. In the biographical study, what you do? You explain a person's life. That's your research study. In a phenomenological study, it's not a person's life per se, it's a concept that you describe. Again, the concept can be described in any way that you want. It's how you interpret it as a result. Some people might look at Facebook as a thing, some people might look at it as absolute nonsense. But for me, Facebook is very important as a marketing. For me, it's a good marketing to attract students to my master program at Java University. I am the coordinator of that particular master. So I do advertise using Facebook. I in fact don't advertise. We have also set to Facebook advertise, additional marketing first. They do that, and it's very successful. So, but I don't personally use Facebook. I deactivated it in 2007. I experienced that, and I understood, oh my God, this is a thing not for me, and I kept it. But I'm in LinkedIn. Why? LinkedIn is a professional. Facebook, yes, it's good to network and do different things, but for me, I really don't have time for it. I don't have time to do a lot of things because of a lot of engagement. Right, so that's a phenomenological study. Phenomena is concept and you try to study it. So you now come to the third qualitative, right? Third qualitative what? Tradition. How many traditions are there in qualitative research? 5 traditions. What are the 5 traditions? Number 1, biographical study. Number 2, phenomenological study. Number 3, grounded. Grounded theory is where you are trying to ground the theory, as the name says. How you are ground the theory? By looking at vast amount of data. What do you mean? Now let's say one example is particularly used in theory construction. Let's say I want to come up with a theory how SAB students study. How SAB students study. Let's say I want to come up with a theory. Theory SAB students studies. Let's say I came up with an idea. How would I develop a theory? One, I can interview you. Then I can put cameras all over the place and see how you study. Except in certain places. Right. So then I could interview you, I can give you questionnaires, and I can collect it first of all. And then what I do is I could pool all those data and I look at common patterns, how you study. Are you studying in groups? Where do you study? Where places that you study? Are you studying individually in groups? Likewise, I will be looking at common patterns and come up with a theory. That's called what? Grounded theory. So you ground the theory through what? Data. So this is the pure grounded theory. Where you take data, you obtain data, see patterns, and develop a theory. Not easy. Again, the patterns will be interpreted by the researcher him or herself, and it can be interpreted as that person wants. So I might be looking at the data and telling this is the theory, and you might be looking at the data and you might say this is the theory. So it's again for subject. So a general research method that is grounded, generate or discover theory grounded in the data. You look at the data, right? So there might be vast amount of data that you have. So I'm going to get data. This is the data source. Then I will look at common patterns. And out of that, I'm going to ground the theory. Ground the theory. Okay. That's what I did. But you need to have data, interview data, questionnaire data, observations, and like that, you are going to get a lot of data, and you are going to see common patterns out of that data and come up with a theory. That's called grounded theory. The typical grounded theory is that. So grounded theory. Then ethnography. So this is number 4. Right? Number 1 again. What's number 1? Biographical study. Number 2. Phenomenological study. Number 3. Grounded theory. Number 4. Ethnography. Now look at what's ethnography. Ethnography is what? A description and interpretation of a cultural or social group. You take a social or cultural group and you interpret how they behave. So Professor Nandasen Randapala did the approach what ethnographic study. What the cultural group or social group that he took? Beggars, paupers, panhandlers. Beggars are the people who he attacked. Or even you can take Vedas or whomever and you can study. You can study it. So, yes, the cultural or social. So you have to look at the patterns of behavior, customs, way of life, and of course you have to do that by participant observation. You can be part of the group or you can observe as an outsider. But much more better is to be a part of that. So Professor Nandasekar, did he observe that being outside? No. He was doing what? He became part of this group. So that's what your ethnographic studies. Then finally, the final is case study. Case study already you know. You take one or two cases and study in depth, particularly one case. For example, J gauge. I would like to say J gauge, why, what made it so successful, even during COVID-19 and financial crisis. So develop an in-depth analysis. You do an in-depth analysis. So that's the key term. Please underline. Right? In-depth analysis. In-depth analysis of a single case, or sometimes about few cases. Right? So you try to take a single case and study in depth. Already we discussed about case study design where? Under which topic? Chapter number? On a chapter number, at least, chapter number 3. We have discussed about research designs. How many research designs did we discuss? 10 research designs, isn't it? No, 5 research designs. What are the 5 research designs that we discussed? Cross-sectional, longitudinal, experimental, case study, and comparative case study. So those are, under that course we discussed about case study. So case studies where you take one or few cases and study in depth. So that's what we do. So these are the 5 research traditions. So case study detailed, in-depth examination. Please underline that. So that's the key of case study. The main area of case study or the feature of case study. You take in-depth examination and you take multiple data sources and perspectives related to that case. And I might interview J-gauge people, I might look at their documents, I can ask what the stakeholders think about their organization. Like that. So that's for case study. Okay, so those are the 5 research designs that I wanted to discuss with you. Is that clear? So what are the 5 qualitative research traditions as Westway's posted? What are the 5 ways? This is a target question at the final exams. What's that? First one is what? Biographical stuff. Then philological stuff. Then geography. Then ethnographic stuff. Then okay. So those 5 with simple examples, if you elaborate, that's more than it. Okay. Then now look at some quantitative concepts in qualitative studies. Now I think you can remember I explained to you about external value. What's external value? What's external value? You can generalize the findings outside. External value. Internal value is what? Basically the consistent. So external value. Now these are quantitative concept. In qualitative research, we call it transfer. Same thing, but a different word. Whether you can transfer the findings to outside. But in a qualitative research, it's very difficult to do. Because if you study J-gauge, can you transfer the findings to DMS? You can't. With J gauge is a different setting there. So that's a problem. So therefore they say transferability of a qualitative research is of the reader. The reader has to translate, not the research. The reader has to read several case studies and understand how to translate to some other country. Right? So therefore, to ensure external validity, the researcher will have to provide a good description. Then the reader could understand and translate to us. Okay. So that's what external validity. But then we have reliability. That's again a qualitative concept. But in quantitative research, we call it, in qualitative research, we call it what? So these reliability is a positivistic concept, but here we call it dependability. So please take down. Dependability is what we call in qualitative research. We don't call it reliability, we call it dependability. How you can depend on the file? Dependability. So reliability, I think you know. How did we calculate reliability in SPSS? What's the test that we do? What's the test we teach? So they're going to test it. We calculate a very important statistic. What's that called? Let's start from C. Convex. And exactly about 0.7. That's again a quantitative test. But in qualitative studies, we don't calculate convex alpha because there's no numbers. We call it dependent. How much dependable we can have on the research. It depends on what? Whether different researchers come into similar interpretation. Now let's say JK was investigated by 3 research teams, they should come up with the same interpretation. Or at least similar. Repeated examination produce similar observations. That also increases dependability. And also multiple researchers produce similar interpretation of the same data. So that's a reliability is a positivistic concept. Right? It is a positivistic concept. In qualitative research, we call that dependability. External validity, again, is a positivistic concept, but in qualitative research, what we call that? Transfer. Whether we can transfer that to external value. Okay. And with this, we'll finish. The last thing I'm going to discuss is triangulation and correlation. I will give you a small task. What is task that? Please tell me the difference between these two concepts. Triangulation, this is one, and correlation. What's the difference with an example? Please teach me. Then you can triangulation and correlation. With an example, please tell me what's triangulation and correlation. Triangulation and correlation. What do you mean by that? Triangulation and correlation. Tell me what you mean by that. Triangulation and correlation. Tell me with an example, what's the difference between these two in qualitative research? Triangulation and correlation. Tell me what's the difference. Indeed, I'll be telling you, but case kindly tell me what's the difference between triangulation and photometry. Here's an example. What the reverse? Yes. I'm uploading another positive. A positive. Another positive is. So what's the difference between triangulation and corroboration? What's triangulation and corroboration? Example? What's corroboration?
Minimizing the risk of false observations of inflation. So for that, we need to ensure the credibility of data.
Last conversation. What's the thing? Getting the fight. So actually, under triangulation, what you are trying to do is you are trying to use different methods and sources to see whether you are getting the same result. Right now, for example, let's say you get an information that someone has died, let's say, for an example. Maybe a politician has died. But harm Srilanka and now he has died. Now, triangulation might mean that you might have got it in one source, right? But then you can use other sources as well, right? Repeating another example, I think you have heard about Justin Bieber. Really, absolutely hate that guy, but again, let's take that example because some female students seems to be mad at him. Justin Bieber, right? Now, sometimes, like about 1 year back, we got a news. I got a news suddenly. Although I don't follow him, but Justin Bieber has got a small issue. What's that? We got Ramses disease. What's Ramses disease? This face got partially paralyzed. That's called Ramses disease. Right? So if you try to smile, one part will smile, the other will stay as it is. So immediately he had to cancel all his concerts, performances, and he had to go into meditation. I don't know what he's doing now. Maybe he had to ask. He has a different vibe, but Selena Gomez also was playing around with him. Now I don't know what she's doing as well as he's doing, but again, right. Now let's say I got that information that day, suddenly that this man has got what? Ramses disease. Partial facial paralysis. So how can you triangulate it? News. So that was what I have got from a news source. So then I will go to other news sources and see whether it's there. Same information is there. Also, I could call his manager and ask his manager, publicity manager, has this man got what? Ramses disease. And maybe I could call Selena Gomez and ask, okay, what do you think about this man now? He would say, I don't know. Maybe I can ask his wife as well. I could ask his wife as well and see whether. So likewise, I'm going to use different methods and different sources and try to establish what? Whether the information is correct. That's what is called. That's what it says here. Multiple perspective data sources, research methods, data collection techniques. They are used different techniques to see whether I get the same information. Right? All this evidence for credibility, dependability, and transferability. So you will be able to get that information and see whether it's established. But corroboration is something else. Corroboration is multiple informants for similar perception. Now, for an example, if I want to ask whether, now I'm going to ask you whether you are satisfied with this thing. Let's say, for an example, I might ask you whether you are satisfied. I must ask you whether you are satisfied. And see, others are also following the same perception. Right? Particularly from an independent source, I'll try to corroborate. Corroborate, the English meaning is what? Support. You are trying to, you have a fact and you are trying to get more support on that, maybe from same sources. Right? By participants itself. I did not go to several other sources. I'm asking from you itself, but from a different person. So that's called corroboration. You might need to understand. Okay, I think with that we can finish. Right? These are all techniques that we use in qualitative research. I think that's enough for all. Okay. So with that, we finish the syllabus of research methodology as well. So I have now uploaded a different past paper as well into the LMS, and let me discuss that past paper. Right, because partially I discussed the earlier past paper. So today let's take a fresh look. Right. So please go to the past paper and we discuss that. So you can go to the LMS. I hope the can working. Let's first discuss this and then let's go to the next one. So you can see here, RM paper, Sri Lanka 2019. So please download it. So that's a new past paper and discuss that for you today, right? And see whether you can answer. Certain areas I did not cover because it's not so necessary. I covered only the essential parts, right? So these are different, at that time it was known as a different subject, 3 hours. So same structure, like we will be given all questions needs to be answered. Okay, question number 1. Here, last time there was a small scenario given and asking you whether it's a research or not. Now here there is a direct question. What's that? Define what to understand by the term research by providing appropriate examples in the field of accounting. What's research? Did we define what's research? Yes. I told you what's research? The systematic investigation to find out something. Right. So in accounting also you can come up with a new accounting standard doing research, a new accounting method in research, like maybe a new depreciation method, a new leasing method, or a new method on accounting for financial instruments. Like briefly discuss the scientific research process. Did we discuss the scientific research process? Yes, we indeed discussed that scientific research process. How many stages are there? By quota? 7 stages. And also, here not only discussing, you will have to apply that to a research that you are trying to do in accounting. Maybe you could say what's the research, what the better decision method. Maybe you could say, on the other hand, S1 and S2 standards. S1 and S2 are what? Sustainability accounting standards. Sustainability effect disclosure standards. Right. What the people are thinking about these standards. It's easy to adapt. Right. So then you have to apply that to the 7-stage process. Then this is a nice question. An accountant argues that research is a waste of money. Usually accountants argue. An accountant argues that the research is a waste of money as generally such expenditure cannot be capitalized based on present financial reporting standard. Research you cannot capitalize. Right? Development maybe, but under certain circumstances. Critically evaluate this view by help by the accountant. Do you agree? I would say critically evaluate. That means we have to give for and against arguments both. Right. First, let's talk about against arguments. That research is not a waste of money. Right. What are the arguments? Is research a waste of money? No. It's an investment in fact. If the outcome is positive. And you can see, I taught you a separate section why research is important for man. Can you read it? Yes. The first page said why research is so important for man. You can apply the same argument. I was telling that. But before something happens, some bad thing happens, before it goes out of control, you can find solutions for it. You can understand what's going on. And if it is a bigger problem, you can get consultancy and get it resolved. And the researchers who are having research knowledge, like accountants or managers having research knowledge, will be advanced, having an advantage over others. They could read and understand research journals and apply that into their own practice. So research is not waste of money. You can save money and you can do it effectively. But those are all arguments for. So what are the arguments? Arguments not for, arguments against. The arguments for this person's view. Research is waste of money. Yes, it could be waste of money. If the outcome is not, but positive. The outcome is not positive, it might be waste of money. You might be spending billions of funds on cancer research, but still we don't have found a part. But what for it might be waste of money. Might be based on the outcome. But it doesn't invalidate doing research. And also it might take a long time to get an outcome. sometimes. And if you don't plan the result properly, also the outcomes might not be possible. So likewise, yes, it might be true under certain circumstances where the research might not be good. So likewise, for and against. So at least come up with 4 arguments that are for this argument as well as against this argument. You take marks and here's my favorite question. Tables 1, 2, 3 and figure 1 below indicates information extracted from a research conducted on the effect of corporate governance on CSR disclosures. Empirical evidence from listed banks, insurance, finance companies of Sri Lanka. So the variable, the dependent variable is CSR level of disclosure. And then there are corporate governance characteristics like CHR duality, dependence, board size, audit committee, size of audit committee, likewise several independent and dependent. Then there are certain control variables, and this is the conceptual diagram. So corporate governance board characteristics is going to be the independent variable. The dependent variable is the corporate CSR level of disclosure. There are control variables as well, firm size, profitability, and leverage. Those are common variables taken. Right. Then descriptive statistics has been given. The total CSR index is given. And the mean value is 38.28. These are out of 100 each. Then there are subcomponents of CSR index. Then the OLS regression analysis is given. OLS regression analysis is given. Let me read this back and ask you the question. So yes, of course, let's see the first question. Difference between regression and correlation analysis. What's the main idea of doing a regression analysis? Prediction. You do regression for prediction. Then correlation analysis is converted to look at the association between the two. You have explained regression versus correlation, which we discussed. Then question number 2. Indicate 4 hypotheses that the researchers could be able to develop by looking at figure number 1. Can you tell me what are the 4 hypotheses? There are more than 4 indeed. Tell me one hypothesis first. Very good. The board size has an association with the level of CSR disclosure. Another hypothesis. Take any dependent variable and relate it to the dependent variable. Then you could say size of the audit committee has an association with the level of CSR disclosure. And a student might say the board meetings, the number of board meetings has an association with what? The CSR disclosure. Likewise, you can write any amount of hypothesis based on your independent variables. For control variables, you don't write hypothesis. Keep that in mind. Control variables don't have to clear. Now, next question. Comment on the CSR disclosure level in Sri Lanka by looking at the information in table 2. Table 2 is descriptive statistics. What can you say? Now, first understand what's being asked. Now, here it says total disclosure index. And then you have sub indices. You have taken 174 companies and you have measured each of them, the CSR from 0 to 100 scale. From 0 to 100 versus 4. Now you can see here the maximum under each category as well as the total is 100. So there are companies who have achieved 100 as well. What's the average disclosure level? By looking at the total score. Total disclosure index is only 38.28. Out of 100, on average, Sri Lankan companies disclose only 38%. Do you think that's a good amount? Not at all. And the GRI index from 0 to 100, you know, the maximum score would be 100. They are disclosing only 38 points. And there's also a huge variation, 27, plus or minus from 38. There's a huge variation as well. So that's one aspect you can cover. The next aspect you can cover is under the sub-indices, what has the highest under CSR sub-indices, what has the highest disclosure when it comes to mean value? What sub-index? One index. Product of service reliability disclosures is 46.6%. That's good. Almost 50% companies are disclosing that information. For the lowest graph, no. In fact, labor practices. Labor practice 52, 46 is this one. 52 is the best labor practices. And decent work disclosures is 52% because of labor requirements. The lowest one. The lowest one. Human rights is. So those insights you should be able to derive out of what? Descriptive statistics. Right. Okay, let's go to the next question. So based on mean value and the standard deviation, comment. Briefly explain what you mean by R squared value of 0.59, which indicated on the table 3. On the table 3, in the regression table, says 0.59. What does it mean? What's R squared? Last week, through my own mouth, I explained to you and even gave you a note on what's R squared. What's R squared? The explanatory power of all the independent and control variables. It's 0.59. Is it good? Reasonable. You have to express the R squared as what? It's called the explanatory power of the independent variables. It has to be expressed usually by what? As what? As a percentage. What it means is the CSR disclosure, the variation of the CSR disclosure is explained by 59% of the CSR disclosure is explained by what? The selected independent and control variables. Had it been 70%, it might be much better, but again it's 59%, almost 60%. That's quite reasonable. The selected independent variables and the control variables could explain the variation in the dependent variable, that's the CSR disclosure by 59%. That means there are almost 40% other factors impacting the CSR disclosure remain. So what if you feel I'm speaking Greek or Latin, then what you need to do? Watch the last videos that I discussed right in the class. What's explanatory power? What's R square? Those things I explained. Comment on the overall model validity by looking at the appropriate information in table 6. How to know the overall model validity? What the statistics are we looking at? What the one statistic? Overall model validity. Well, the variable balance is in far not safe. Overall model validity बहुत बोला नहीं, वो तो contested है. F test. See the F test value. Significance of the F test is how much? 0.0000. That means what? Highly significant. The overall model is valid because the test significant value is less than 0.05. That means that we have more than 99%. not even 95, so that we have more than 99% confidence the overall model is valid. So that's the if test. So if you are not sure what I'm talking about, I illustrated as well. Please go through the notes. Please go through the videos that we did during last week, because there will be 2 questions on quantitative data analysis on SPS. Right. So what variables are significant? What variables are significant? How can you tell that? What variables are significant? Common significance in one. By looking at asterisk marks. By looking at asterisk marks. Now I know why you are not answering the question, because last time there were only very few students physically participating. Now online education is very fast. You are there but not there. But at least now go through the videos. But you are going to need the bucket receipts. So how can you say? Look at the asterisk marks. The asterisk mark means less than 1% significance, less than 10% significance, 5% significance, and 1% significance. So you can see what are significant. CSR, having a CSR committee is having a significant impact on disclosure levels. Then FS, what's FS? Firm size. All are defined out. Firm size has a significant impact. Those are the only 2, and of course ROA is having a significant impact on the disclosure level. All are positive because positive signs. So there are 3 variables that has a significant positive impact on what? These are disclosure levels. So that's what you have to explain. We will explain what recommendations can you give. So give the recommendations based on what? Significant variables. Always give the recommendations based on significant variables. So here the significant variables are what? CSR committee, size, and ROA. So what are the recommendations that you can give? 1, establish CSR committees. CSR committee, having a CSR committee has a positive impact on CSR disclosure, as indicated by the results. You can see. If asterisk is given. Then size has an impact on the CSR level. So expand the size of the company. That's another recommendation. Third one, ROA has a positive impact on CSR disclosure level. So what kind of recommendation you can give? Increase the profitability to increase what? The CSR disclosure level. Because company is having more profit, has more resources to engage in CSR disclosure. That's what it means. So those are the recommendations you have given. Last week I explained this. Kindly watch the videos. If you have not done, watch it at least today. Right. Then, so that's it. Based on the regression results, always based on the significant predictors, give your recommendation. Okay. Question number 3. Discuss the importance of adhering to academic writing guidelines in writing your thesis. What's the importance of adhering to academic writing guidelines, which I taught you in the morning? What's the way I will increase clarity, consistency of your writing. It will increase the clarity. It will increase the consistency. It will minimize misunderstandings and will help to avoid plagiarism. Like us, several advantages are there. Why you should engage in proper academic writing. Number 2, define what is plagiarism and discuss how you could avoid it. What's plagiarism? Plagiarism is what? Expressing others' ideas or words as your own without acknowledgement is known as plagiarism. Did we discuss about that? Yes, indeed, we discussed. Plagiarism. How to avoid it? There are 2 ways that you can avoid it. Giving references. By giving references, yes. In both, but paraphrasing as well as direct quote. You can directly quote the text, but again give references. You paraphrase and again give references. So that's the way that you can give. You can avoid what is plagiarism. Then you are given a research paper. And you are asked to identify what are the errors in this text. What are the errors in this text? What are the errors? COVID study 2004. Do you need to give the year of publication of the second resource? No. 2004 is not required because you did not read it. Then cited in Ahmad, Rashid, and Go 2017. Is anything wrong with that? No. But you don't need to say as. Ahmad, Rashid, and Go, there's no problem. Now here it says Gigi, Salah, Dixon, and Starling. Is there something wrong? 2013. What's wrong? You should have counted what? Gigi et al. More than three, put et al. Yes, in the morning itself. Come here. Here things are okay. Shen, et al. Do you need a comma? Comma corner? No, no comma. In this, our reference guide, we told there is no comma required. Take a further. Joe Marino and Zero 2011. What's wrong with that? And mark it up in the door. There should be and mark. Then Ahmad, Rashid, and Go. What's wrong with here? 2 things are wrong. What's that? What's wrong with that? You have put and mark outside the brackets. That's not allowed. You should have A, B, and is text comma required? No, that's not required. Those are the errors. Identify 6 errors and the correct version. Do the wrong thing and tell the correct version. Other than you kata kara, itara. This is the second SPSS question. SPSS is very, very important. I will ask the students to bring their laptops to the class. Right. Explain what is meant by research hypothesis using an example in the field of account. What's a hypothesis? Well, a testable subject. As you can say, you can take suppose there is an example one. The board of directors has a positive impact on CSR social sustainability disclosure. Indicate the purpose of the following analysis and provide an example under each. T-test. What T-test? What's a T-test? T-test is what? A test that compares between 2 groups. a certain characteristics compared by two. For an example, you can take large scale companies and small scale companies and see whether the CSR disclosure is different between those two categories of companies. Sustainability disclosure is whether different between large and small scale companies. Then one way now. What's the difference between t-test and one way now? In one way now, you compare more than two groups. More than two. Discuss different sampling techniques available under quantitative and qualitative approaches. Did we discuss that? Yes, indeed. It was an online session and I discussed even using how to use Excel to perform what? Sampling. So what are the quantitative techniques that we use? Sampling techniques, quantitative, or probabilistic sampling techniques. Simple random, stratified random, systematic sampling, and what's the cluster sampling, multi-stage cluster sampling. Then what are the qualitative sampling methods? Convenience sampling, Colombo sampling, perfect sampling, judgmental sampling, that's also perfect sampling, then self-selection sampling. Right? Then also I told you another sampling, which is a qualitative sampling, which is about that quota sampling. So 5 methods. The one is 3 methods under each approach. Amazing. Distinguishing between positivist and post-positive type of research paradigms based on the ontological and epistemological assumptions. They are on a table. Ontology system. Positivism, post-positivism. Oh. Yeah, I'll show you again if you want to see. You know, here. Positivism and interpretation. Right? Or you can call it positive and post-positive, whatever. Ontology and epistemology. Basically, what it says is there's one reality, there's multiple realities. Right? Whether the reality exists, yes, existence. How to know? Yes, when it comes to positivistic research, the researcher and the research are treated as two different entities. And that should be objectively measured right in positivism. But in post-positivism, the researcher and research interacts. And the reality is going to be found. Discuss the following research traditions in qualitative research. Did we discuss that? Coming up discussion. Ethnography, phenomenological study, and case study. Finally, explain what you understand by credibility and transferability. The credibility and transferability. Oh. You can see. So 5 questions, 20 marks each. So altogether, 100. There are 6 questions. Structured interviews we did not discuss. We discussed about self-completion questions. That's enough. I did not discuss about structured questions because we discussed about questions. Structured interviews we did not discuss. Right, so you can see. So in terms of questionnaires, you might be asked, okay, what are the advantages and disadvantages of using structured questionnaires? And also you might be given some errors in questionnaires, like double barrel questions, questions which has vague meanings we discussed, and maybe you are being asked about the 8-stage approach or the 10-stage approach of questionnaire development. So we really need that test. Any questions? And we will now discuss after this a little bit of digital business strategy. So I will be doing like this. I'll give you 6 questions. Not, you don't need to write all questions. I'll give you 6 questions. After that, you have to write 5 questions. Well, you have 1 choice. All right. Okay, that's the whole again, but no. I'll give you 1 choice. So 20 questions, 20 marks each, 5 questions, 100. All will carry equal marks. So I will consider a case study for that. No case studies, don't worry about that. And but there will be scenario-based questions as I explained last week. Last week also I did a small table discussion. So go through these 2 papers very carefully. Who knows? No, it's done. So therefore, go through these questions and go through the entire syllabus very carefully. And again, I am going to reiterate what I teach is what I test. They have to go through the materials very carefully. The question, the textbook has almost more than 700 pages. You don't need to worry about that. Only what I had taught in the class is concerned. And particularly the questions I discussed. And SPSS, yes, you will have 2 questions out of SPSS. As you see. So it's absolutely a must that you go through that 5 minutes. You know, it's up. I have given you 5 videos to watch, isn't it? But you want to know about SPSS, and then I covered everything by taking an example in the class as well. Right. Any questions related to research methodology? Because now I am shifting to DPS, because we did not have paper discussion. Did I put a past paper for DPS? Well, that's how without not a discussion. Any questions? And right now, my responsibility is over. Now it's your responsibility to study and pass this out. So the only thing that you have is commit yourself, put your maximum study. And fortunately now you have some holidays that are coming up, isn't it? And seems that you will have exams at the end of this month. I don't know, like you might actually. So good luck with your exams, particularly for research and also details. What are the other subjects you are in? So altogether 4 subjects. 4 subjects. Corporate reporting, leadership, DBS, and research. Corporate reporting is the only subject quantitative. Other 3 are qualitative. The part you should be able to express your ideas as well. So take past papers and write answers. Keep it for a while and see, like the examiner, look at it again and see whether they will give marks. What marks they will make. What I think primarily and best, so I don't have time to write entire 3 hours, so I take 30 minutes. So you know how to allocate time for a paper. So what I do is usually 3 hours, how many minutes? 180 minutes. So per mark, how many minutes that you should spend? 1.8, but to be safe, I make it 1.5. 180 minutes, so I keep 30 minutes as a buffer. So you have altogether 150 minutes. Divided by 100, that means for 1 mark, you have to write how much? You can consume how much? 1.5 minutes. For a 20 mark question like this, how much minutes you should spend? 1.5 into 10. That's 30 minutes. Don't go beyond that. But at the end, you will get 30 minutes, but that 30 minutes will exhaust itself. Because Kochara, you are under this here in the target is correct. When you start writing. So likewise, plan yourself very well. Then what I do is, I take 30 minutes and I take one question and I think now I'm in the exam and I write the answers. Just when I'm studying. Just 30 minutes. Then I keep it aside for about 1 or 2 hours and I will be looking at that, what I wrote, the answers as an exam. And then I will see whether I give marks for that. Sometimes, my goodness, I could have do big question mark for technical like this. You know, any visual mark. Make it love to the very right. Likewise, I said, correct myself. So therefore, think about your strategies of studying. I know all of you are working, that's correct. But think of different strategies. Those days I never studied at my home. There were some hard rules. Never studied at my home. I always studied in a common place. I went to a study hall, a study room. In Srilanka, there's enough spaces for studies. In the university also, we had these study rooms. We had this bar, there was a 24-hour study room. And I even became a Baladipa, that is the person who stayed most of the time at one, studying and studying and studying. So remember, your effort translates into success. Your effort always translates into success. Yes, you will see, you will hear all the time, work smart than hard. You all are smart, that's why you are here. Only this to be practice working hard. Yes, work smart, hard. Work hard, smart. That's what I'm saying. Some people think smart means that you are trying to find shortcuts. No, there's no shortcuts in life. In life, there's no shortcuts. The shortcuts are shortcuts. Therefore, study it. Okay. Anything you want to clarify with great yourself? Tomorrow is the deadline, and please apply that academic writing guidelines that I taught you in the morning to what I taught in the morning to the proposal. That's enough related to research. Now let's come to the DBS subject. I have to teach you 2 subjects, but don't worry. Right? I'm not here to fail anyone, but if you purposely try to fail, I cannot help. So therefore, study well and do your best. I don't want good students to be great. Things put yourself. Change the place of studies. If something is not working, change. If you are consistently not performing well in your education, your studies, change certain variables. Change the place you are studying. Change the people you are studying. Go to a different place. You know what's the definition of madness? According to Einstein or Newton or someone who told, the definition of madness is you do the same thing and expect a different result. You are doing the same thing that made you fail, and you are still doing the same thing and expect a different result. And you expect a different result? No, you cannot. So if you are not performing well in your academics, change the variables. Change the way you study, change the place you study. Right? Get some advice. Watch some YouTube video that says how to get straight A's in your examination. They're perfect, nice videos that gives advice. This is the last one. There's one more. So that's related to research method. Now let's go to the GBS subject. Let me first see whether I have put a pass page. If not, let me put a pass. Okay, let's see your DPS. Digital business strategy. And please go through the videos. You have enough time. You are a fortunate batch. Level 3. Digital business strategy. Okay, let's see. आपके ऊपर डाल ले. Okay, let me put a past thing. And let me discuss that with you as well. So let me put it at the bottom of the LMS and then let me find a good path. They are both they are done. Representative path they are done. For uploading here. 23 August. Right, go to the LMS and go to the bottom of the page of that DBA summary. Right. Now go to the DBA subject and go to the bottom of the page. Says August digital business strategy 2023 August. Downloading. Now the same structure will be there for you as well. So research methodology, there are 6 questions. You have to write 5 questions out of them. All questions carry equal marks, right? Now DBS is a little bit different. The structure is a little bit different for the DBS. You have to write 4 questions. First question is compulsory. First question is compulsory. There will be 40 marks. Then there will be another 3 questions, 20 each, 20 to 3, 60, 60 plus 40, 100. Right? So it's how it's going to help. And you can see, Sandwich team was one of the case studies I discussed in the class. You can remember. So you can see the same case study or similar case studies with other. Who knows? So The case study is given is it's around 1.5 pages, not more than that. Maximum 2 pages or 1 page, 1.5 pages. Pages they can order case study is given. So what are the questions it asks? So the case study is given. Explain micro and macro environmental elements of sandwich steel. Did we discuss about micro elements and macro elements, environmental elements? Yes. What are the macro elements? Macro elements. Pestle. So take the pestle factors and apply the sandwich steel. Micro, that's all. Micro factors. Customers, competitors, and intermediaries. Then telephone sandwich steel words. Apply that to the case. Then discuss the buy side and sell side e-commerce. Did we discuss that? Buy side and sell side e-commerce? The first week sale. What's buy side e-commerce? Dealing with your e-commerce that deals with your suppliers. Sell side e-commerce that deals with your first customer. Then you need to read the case study and answer this. Discuss sandwich steel digital business strategy. Look at what their digital business strategy is elaborated and you have to identify. Then discuss how disintimidation and reintimidation could help sandwich steel. Did we discuss disintimidation, reintimidation, and countermidation? Yes. Apply that. First discuss what's the concept and apply that to sandwich steel. Okay. Disintimidation. Removal of tradition. Traditional intermediaries. So in this case, look at who are the traditional intermediaries and tell them these guys are good. Then what's reintimidation? Introduction of new intermediaries. Example, rather than using traditional marketing avenues, you have to use what? Facebook advertising. That's reintimidation. Then what's countermediation? What's countermediation?
Introducing new intermediary or
Own intermediary. You have own subsidiary as an intermediary. That's what called countermediation. Very good. So see how we can apply that to sandwich steel. Define what is corporate governance. Did we discuss what's corporate governance? Yes. And what are the benefits for sandwich steel? Recommend digital business strategies that could be used for transform sandwich steel. Yes, we discussed throughout the series of sessions what are the digital business strategies that we could use. 40 marks. Then question number 2. Again, it says distinguish between buy side and sell side e-commerce with examples which we discussed. Then take three different revenue models for a portal. Exact question was there on the slide. How can you make money out of a website? Subscription-based model, CPM, right? In the display advertising, likewise, there are different models that I was discussing. So what are the advantages, disadvantages? Go and see the slide. Will explain. Any question might be there, saying what are the different revenue models. Then can you remember this one? Monthly visitors this amount, 5% visitors click through, and this is what they are going to get as. Did we discuss this? Yes, in the class I worked it. And here there's a small issue, this unmoderated one. So instead of 10,000 CPM, it has been average order value should be a value. Let's say 10,000 or even 300. There's no problem. Not CPM. So this question was there as it is, and I worked out and even give the answer for the 3 scenarios as it is. So the only thing might be different in the exam might be new values here. whether over the 400,000 euros, 300,000 euros. Compute revenue. Then discuss the concept of zero moment of truth at content market. Did we discuss that? Yes, indeed. What's zero moment of truth? Before even we step into the vendor's shop, we know the truth. How? Customer reviews, comments. Then content marketing. What's that? A rich marketing way where you use video, audio, and text to have better customer engagement. The best example is what? YouTube. On the first day or second day itself, I discussed these things. Explain advantages and disadvantages of going digital by a business entity in comparison to continuous brick and mortar business. What are the advantages and disadvantages? There was a classroom assignment on this. What are the advantages and disadvantages of going digital compared to brick and mortar? There are several advantages as well as there are risks of going digital. Describe 3 of the main barriers of adoption of e-commerce by consumers and suggest how company could counter this. In terms of consumers, what are the barriers that they could not go for e-commerce? What are the barriers? Maybe they don't know the know-how. Maybe there is connection issues. Particularly in Sri Lankan context, there are numerous issues that are there. Which was a question to you as well, which I discussed in the class. This was under value chain analysis. The traditional value chain model of Michael Ford is no longer useful as a framework for the value chain management for e-business. Critically very important. I argued, in fact, the author argues, the traditional supply chain management or the value chain management of whom? Ford. Inbound logistics and outbound logistics in between yard operations. And then there is a support activity. It was told that this value chain is no longer valid, but now it's a market-driven value chain. A and B, as I mentioned in what slides. Then there itself, there was a question arguing that. But remember, it says critically clear. That means you should not only tell ideas in support of this, but also you have to what? Again. Yes, for new businesses, particularly digital oriented businesses, the new value chain might apply. But for very traditional businesses like manufacturing bricks, would the new value chain apply? Not like. So I discussed that as well. So if you have listened to this again, you have listened to my lectures. I have exactly told, yes, this will be even tested as exam. This time also you might expect this question. So all the answers are given, and please watch those. I have given you the answers, particularly in my videos. If you see the slides, the answers are blank. Look at my what? Videos. Look at my videos. Define the concept of digital business infrastructure. I told you that there are how many elements in digital business infrastructure. Three elements. What are 3 elements? What are 3? Hardware, software, and then we discussed that. Then 5-layer model of Dave Chappie. What are the 5 layers? We discussed different layers. I even took an example where employee was applying, right? Applying for a holiday. So which layers are there? Right? Application layer, system software layer. Likewise, there are 5 layers. So we discussed those 5 layers as well. So with the exam, you can use the same example when you write answers for the exam. Explain factors that you would consider in developing a mobile app versus keeping up with the side decision. App versus web decision. Yes. App versus web decision. I even gave that in the class as small classroom assignment. If not, the answers are also there. The slide itself, there are 6 points. Whether you should go for an app or keep the link. 6 points. Check this. Then critically evaluate deploying SaaS in a business entity. What SaaS? It's a dangerous respiratory disease like what? COVID-19. Take a SaaS case. That's SCRS. This is what? SaaS. SaaS is what? Software as a service. And I took the example of what? Cloud accounting software. This should be cloud accounting software. What are the advantages as well as disadvantages? Did we discuss it? No. Don't worry, then done on is software. Someone moon on there, what wire it now? Fast enough. Get it. So the secret of success is what? Hard work. Then final question. Discuss the environmental strategy and performance ESP strategy development framework in the context of SAP campus. Apply the ESP framework for SAP campus. Right. We discussed the separate slideshow was there on the ESP framework. ESP stands for environmental analysis, strategy making, and performance evaluation. Then even there I told you that there are, you can apply what? For P, what kind of approach you can use to assess the performance? KPIs. KPIs as well as, yes, KPI and what? KPI and the balance scorecard. And particularly for a digital business, what's KPI that you can use? Conversion rate, yes, commits, right? How much commits, followers, those kind of KPIs. Then apply business model canvas to SAP campus. In fact, to a certain extent. Right. So, how many elements are there in the business canvas mode? 9 elements are. What's the most important one? Value. Think about SAP campus and see how you can apply that to SAP campus. Explain the content marketing metrics and how to use it to SAP campus. That in fact was I think one of your assignments as well. Content marketing metrics. In there, how many quadrants are there? How many quadrants are there? Content marketing metrics say quadrants here given. There are 4 quadrants. There you can use. Take a website, take a video. If you go to the website, take a web content marketing metrics. Look what they do. Entertainment, some elements could be entertainment or entertainment, inspiration, convincing, and education. These are the 4 quadrants of the content marketing. So, what are the content SAP would introduce as educational elements, as convincing elements, as inspiring elements, as well as what? As well as convincing, entertainment, education, inspiration. And someone I think asked that day a question as well, what's the difference between inspiration and what? Okay. So these are the questions on that. And finally, difference between vertical integration and virtual integration. Did we discuss that? Yes, indeed. With examples. And we even took an example of what were the 2 companies that we took? Virtual integration and vertical integration. There are no examples. Dell and IBM. Dell and IBM were taken for virtual integration apps with a vertical integration. IBM for vertical integration, Dell for virtual integration. So this will be the structure, and the cases that I discussed in the class will be important. And also look at these questions that inspire yourself in this question. Right. Any questions on digital business study? If you have any questions, the batch leaders could contact me, send me an email or just have a call. And don't worry again, what I will tell is what I teach is what I test. So what I go through will only be tested. So the best way to now do is prepare yourself very well. Prepare yourself for the exams. And don't waste a minute on unnecessary things. Right now, the New Year season comes, of course. My request is this time you celebrate New Year only the essentials. Other than that, you spend your time on what? Education. If you can stay in Colombo, if you are coming from outside and stay near border, so don't go to your places. Only on the New Year day you go and come back. Study. Because remember, always your effort will be translated into marks. Your effort will be translated into success. Nothing else. So remember, your future is in whose hands? My hands. Mr. Carlson's hands? No. Your future is in all hands. So study strategically, study hard as well as smart as well as hard. There's no way. Okay, so that's what I would say. And anytime you are welcome to speak to me or just send me an email through your batch leader, I'll be very happy to help. Any questions, batch leaders? Or both batch leaders are there? In fact, do you have any questions?
The CA marks, after the CA marks, like, what is the minimum?
Minimum, that's like this the CA marks in this subject for DBS is 50. 50, and my students did quite well. The CA marks will be released very soon. I released it to the same. It will be released to you. One group did very poor, in fact, the last group. But other groups did fairly. And the classroom assignments were good. The individual assignments were both really nice. We had done it last week.
The minimum pass mark
Is, I think, 40. 40 and
only for the CA.
No. For both, I think you need to maintain 40, but on the other hand, if you receive less than 40 for the exam, then there's going to be some kind of cutoff. But you have to get that more than 35. I'm not sure about it. Because I'm interested in not in a lower end. I'm interested in the higher end. So you should ask her, A plus how much? But yes, but I don't think anyone would want to fail this subject because people have earned good continuous mark as you told. And as well as the people who study this way, go through the subject matter and done your properly. I don't think anyone would fail. It is that you have to fail. Don't worry about getting write something sensible. Right, and make us. So you have to help me to help you. How? How can you help me? By writing sensible answers. That's the only way that you can help me to help. So yes, the students did very well, and I have released it to SAB. It will be released to you. But one group, in fact, the last group, in fact, did not do very well. But other groups did, and the individual assignments also was good. Individual assignments were not. So let me take the honor also to wish you all the very best for your life, for all the examinations and your life as well. We might be meeting again or we might not be meeting, I don't know. Maybe not in this capacity, maybe. So I think if we meet, then that's lovely. Of course, we do another subject, I don't know whether we come for another subject or not. But however, I wish you all the very best in all your activities, not only education, to get the highest maximum success in your life. So my advice to you, the last advice I will do is work hard, work ethical. That's the only way. So I said, work hard, work ethical. That will take you a long. Hardworking and unethical activities or unethical behavior will never take you anywhere. But the other way around also, if you are ethical but not working hard, that also will take you so far. So work hard, work ethically, and we'll meet again. Maybe the PhD program, or maybe the same program, but not as a repeat student. Never I would wish to see you as a repeat student. Do your best, right? So I wish you all the best in your life activities, in your exams, upcoming exams, and as well as all your life activities. And also happy Ramadan for the Muslim brothers and sisters, as well as for all other students who are going to celebrate the single and family. So wish you all the very best. So I think we are going to meet again. It's going to be the last class, right? I think I'm the person who's going to do the last class. I don't know. Is there that something?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So wish you all the best and keep in touch. Do your best. Do your best and don't worry. If you have written sensible answers, I'm not here to fail. But if you have not helped me to help you, I cannot help. All the students did very well, and I really enjoyed this class because you had experience, working experience, and you are not like the typical undergraduate who had no much idea of what's going on. You are a mature crowd. I really love teaching. I learned things from you as well. So keep up the good activities. You have one more semester, right? In the general, and then you can opt for a special degree as well if you want. Okay, maybe at that point we'll meet again. I don't know. Or if I can, I will never say goodbye to my students. I always wish all the best. Because even this might be the last encounter with you, right, in this big program, but how can I say goodbye? Because the MBA program will meet, the PhD program will meet. Of course, don't lose the interest in education. It will take you to the highest echelons of what? The corporate life. That's the only way. Good luck. Please take care. And be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.